Hi, I'm Keith Habersberger, and this is my first time having Nigerian food.
Everybody remembers their first time. Keith Habersberger, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So you may or may not have ever had Nigerian food. Explain the lack of continuity in your own memory.
Well, from 2014 to 2018, I worked at BuzzFeed, and every week I would probably participate in 3 to 8 taste tests. Those could be snacks, those could be meals, those could be candies, those could be like food kind of battles, like comparison stuff. So hard to say what I haven't had, but when you reached out asking what I haven't had, I was like, I don't know. And then he said, how about Nigerian food? I'm like, I can't describe that to you. So if I have had it, it didn't make an impact, which maybe that's rude. But I would like to be impacted by you today.
I would love to impact you today. I would love to impact you in the same way that BuzzFeed seems to have gotten you to repress so many memories and export them to the cloud.
It's just a blur. It was, I mean, really, like, we were little workhorses there. I mean, it was very fun, to be honest. Like, you were editing videos, you were making like 6 to 8 videos a month by yourself. I was making like 10 videos a month because I was afraid of losing my job. And in the middle of working and shooting your own stuff, you were just in other people's videos, which was really fun.
Yeah.
And it's probably why I'm successful.
Mazel tov on the success. All right, let's get down to some Nigerian food. So this is one of the formative Nigerian dishes. This is called beef suya. Suya is any sort of grilled meat on a stick. When I went on this fun little travel trip, my first time in Africa actually, my bio on their little app that they made everybody download was just local grilled meat on a stick enthusiast. Because every culture seems to have somehow independently developed a grilled meat on a stick. And this is from Nigeria. It starts with like a really incredible spice blend. We're gonna get that going. We got garlic, we got ginger. There's a ton of spices in here. We got a little bit of cayenne, not too much. Keith, I know, no.
Easily a tablespoon of cayenne.
But there were other fun spices that have not capsaicin, but similar spicy things. So like grains of paradise, really freaking awesome African peppercorn.
It's like a peppercorn.
There's a lot of, we're blending up the spices.
I see that.
We gotta get the marinade
Most of
going.
them are powdered.
Yeah, that's true. But this is, the grains of paradise weren't. You kind of want it to be a little bit coarse. And then we're gonna mix that with ground peanuts, which is like a really interesting thing. In Nigeria, it would typically, I can't stop touching it. It feels so weird. Do you wanna touch it?
Yeah. It's almost like I'm buzzing in. True.
All right, I'm gonna blend these spices with this, get a marinade going. Keith, what's the first thing you do in the morning, every single day?
Every single morning now, the first thing I do is go and pour myself a cup of coffee and then pour Becky a cup of iced coffee.
That's very sweet. Do you make the same hot coffee and then you ice it down?
So the yesterday's coffee is in the fridge. It's for Becky. And my coffee is there for me. And it's hot. But sometimes the proportions get off, or people have too much coffee during the day, or people are over. And then I am trying to, what I'll do is pour her coffee into a wider mug and not pour it over ice so that it cools some. And then I'll wait till she says, why didn't you bring me coffee? And I say, because I was letting your coffee cool so it wouldn't all just be water coffee. And she says, oh, can you get me coffee now? And I'm like, yes. So it cools for as long as she is patient.
That's very nice that the first thing that you do in the morning, though, is you are concerned with taking care of your partner. I think that's very sweet.
Well, it's taking care of me, and while I'm up, and then I get those things, and then I pick up Henry from the crib, because he's awake, because that's why I'm awake.
What is the first thing that you noticed about your life being different when you had a kid?
He came early, so we were in the NICU for 7 weeks. So that was a big change. We were also not here. We were on our baby moon when he showed up. So we ended up living 7 weeks somewhere else. And it was very surreal because we were now living in another town that we weren't supposed to be living in. We had a baby that we weren't fully taking care of.
He was in the NICU during your baby moon when you were out of town. You weren't able to get back.
Right, so we had our baby in not our hospital.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it was all very quick and not desirable. So the first thing that I encountered was just this totally weird limbo phase of life where I had a baby, but I wasn't necessarily fully taking care of the baby because I was not capable because the baby wasn't supposed to be out in the world yet. So that was a big change. But a shift as a dad, I guess, is just that you have another person in the house and they're not good at stuff.
Yeah. Keith, I'm gonna skewer up some meats. I'm not using gloves. I have no open wounds. Please check.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Thank
beautiful.
you so much. Ever since I stopped CrossFit, the wounds on my hands stopped being there. Keith, what was your first memory from the Pride of the Upper Cumberland Smith County Marching Band?
Hell yes. So yeah, that was my marching band in Carthage, Tennessee. David is my oldest brother. Brian is my middle brother. David, he played baritone. And I remember going to a football game and
Now, baritone, forgive me, is an
brass instrument.
yeah, but
It's a euphonium.
Yes.
So baritone is somewhere in between a tuba and a trumpet. Anyway, he played baritone, and I remember going to the football games, and they would march, and I'd watch them, and I heard them play the fight song. And as soon as I was in 5th grade,
Can you hum the fight song for me? I see why they called you the Pride of the Upper Cumberland.
Kept going. Yeah, it was very like. But I remember that I heard another song, and I was like, "Wow, I really want to play that." And I just figured out how to play it on the trumpet because we had a trumpet at the house. And as soon as I figured it out, because I'm me, I stood on the front porch of my house and just played it to the world. And I just played it as loud as I could. I was not very good at it, and I just played it just so I'm sure everyone else at 7 p.m. was like, "Oh, that Habersberger kid's playing that
Do you
song
remember
again."
the first formal complaint lodged against your trumpet playing?
Luckily, I lived in rural Tennessee, so the closest house was like 700, 800 feet away. Once they saw it was a young child expressing themselves artistically, they probably just kept it to themselves.
Do you remember the first time that you really fell in love with performing?
So I remember that the Baptist church in our town had the better productions, but I was a Methodist. But I
house divided.
I was in both churches' plays, but because I wasn't a Baptist, I never got the good roles. In fact, I remember one year I fully was a villain in the Baptist play. I was like somebody who like didn't believe.
The lecherous Methodist is in town.
I did that. I was sang in the little kids choir, and we'd be like, I'm gonna jump down, turn around, and touch the ground, and praise the Lord.
Where is that? Try Guys Try Baptist Children's Choir.
Super right. And then I would continue performing in churches. I sang in the adult church choir, and then I was singing harmonies. My dad sang in the church choir, so that was fun and very bonding-y for us. And then I played in brass quintets, and I played in churches in the brass quintets because that music, it's all Bach, right? It's all.
Of course, that's all Bach. That's what I always say about brass quintets. I say it's all Bach.
It's all Bach.
It's all Bach to me.
Church music, band music, it's all Bach. And if it's not Bach, it's based off the Bach writing principles because that's all that old music. That's why it all sounds the same. Oh, this is really smoky.
Can I say something? This is way spicier than I thought it was going to be. You can tell by the smell.
You see the
I didn't think, I know, but I thought it would diffuse among the meat. I was like, there's a lot of different spices in here. Keith, you're going to be totally fine. Okay, wait, I got to go wash myself.
I gotta stay low.
Get down.
I gotta stay away
The
from the
smoke rises.
My dad is a mining engineer, and I had to take an underground mine safety course when I was an intern. And I had to take a whole carbon monoxide training class. And like, if you ever think there's carbon monoxide, you got to go to the ground and breathe out of the ground. You'd push the dirt together, and you breathe out of the ground because carbon monoxide is even lighter, right? So it's up at the top. So you have to crawl to the ground. So that's how you don't breathe smoke.
Keith, here you have it. We got our grilled beef suya. I'm going to take some of the suya spice and just dust that right over the top. It's not spicy, I promise.
Sure? It definitely is. It's red.
I don't think so.
There are only a few red things that you showed, and it was paprika and the cayenne.
It's a fair point. Listen, man. Also, we got some of our house-made hot sauce. Now, what we did is we wanted to make a hot sauce that wasn't too hot because I have geographic tongue syndrome. Not only that, Keith, I have fissured geographic tongue syndrome, and then I also put a picture of your face on it just because I really admire you.
That's so kind of you.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't know if it's a syndrome.
I don't know why I said syndrome.
It's like it's something I'm going through. It's been there my whole life.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
I'll try it for this. First time. Never had this before.
What are you getting? What kind of flavors?
It obviously reminds me of satay in some ways, right?
Yeah.
Because of the peanut. But whereas satay is like peanut flavor, this has a lot of, my mouth's very warm, but not just hot.
Yeah.
Are some of those spices like warming spices as well?
A lot, actually, yeah. And Greens of Paradise to me are the most interesting spice in there. It's almost like related to a peppercorn. But you get this kind of like floral, bitter, almost cardamom note from it. There's a lot of these spices, a lot of these herbs that you aren't used to eating in a lot of other global intercontinental cuisine.
So it's doing something that only like warming spices and like Thai food will do, which is it's making my temples hot. Like specifically right here, like this is gonna start sweating soon. And it's great because honestly, my mouth is not going blah, 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 as much as I do with other spicy stuff. I feel the warmth, but it's actually going straight to my brain and making me feel sweaty.
I'm gonna eat one more skewer. This is breakfast for me, man. I'm gonna dump some of this nice hot sauce on it. You ready to make some rice?
Yeah. How is that?
Oh, it's really nice. A little bit of acidity in the sauce. Here's the thing, it's not too hot.
Hey!
We're gonna make some jollof rice, which is like the king of Nigerian dishes. But first we have to dress this. This is a traditional Nigerian Dutch crunch bread that we found in the sporked region of the Mythical office. And I asked if we could have some to cool down our mouths, and they said only if I said that they're all very cool and hot and to go to spork.com. And I don't judge my coworkers on level of attractiveness, but they told me to say that they're hot. And I think hot is a mindset. Speaking of which, how's your mouth doing?
It's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah,
Mindset.
the bread was for me. Josh being very kind and making it a wee thing, but I needed the bread. My mouth's hot. I was sweating. I asked for tissues and a garbage bag
Yeah. What was the garbage bag for?
for the tissues.
I thought you were expecting to projectile vomit so much that you needed a whole garbage bag.
I don't vomit much. Really rarely. And for eating all the menu, I sometimes wonder if I should. Because I was raised on fast food and stuff, my body digests it 100%. People are like,
that too.
do you like shit your brains out all night? I'm like, no.
If you look at like Inuit villages, right, where it's like, well, they were raised and they're genetically predisposed to be able to eat, cured narwhal fat, maktuk, and eat. See, like that's what your body's meant for. We are meant for eating
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, yeah.
Yeah, my body knows just what to do with it. Knows how to get all the nutrients out of it.
We've developed special enzymes to break down chalupas.
And sometimes I'll eat salads. Doesn't go well.
All right, so we're making jollof. Jollof, this is any sort of like layered rice dish. A lot of Cajun cooking actually comes from.
I'm gonna blow my nose.
Don't worry. A lot of like Cajun cooking actually comes from West African food. Gumbo is like a traditional dish. Gumbo is, I believe, a Swahili word for okra. Jambalaya, very rooted in jollof. You should try this. This is called obayata. This is like obayata.
Obayata.
This is called obayata. It's like every culture has some sort of like they call it sofrito or mirepoix or trinity. Some combination of aromatics and spices. This is like tomato, Scotch bonnet, and ginger, garlic, all that good stuff. And then we're gonna like kind of caramelize that in there. Keith, what was the first job you ever had?
I was a host at a Joe's Crab Shack
Hell yes.
for one summer.
You got humanity's greatest there.
I was an exceptional employee. They really didn't want me to go to college. The manager really wanted me to stay and keep working there. It's like, you could be a server, you could be a bartender someday. I was like, I don't want that. But they would do a thing where once an hour or any time a customer asked for it, they would shake the shack. Now, what's that mean? Well, that means playing the song Love Shack. But every time they say Love Shack, you yell Crab Shack.
Can we do a
At the Crab Shack
is a little place.
And then it'd be Crab Shack, baby, Crab Shack, baby. And that happened once an hour or more. And I obviously loved that. Not only because I was the most performative person there and I would just take to bothering every table with it, but it gave me a reason to stop doing my job, which was taking people's names and telling them how long it would take. And I learned a lot about, the dynamics of servers.
Restaurants are a great place to like understand all the paradoxes of life.
Yeah. So there were never an instance where someone's like, that table's open. That was never there. It's like, why is it an hour? Like, because there's nowhere to go. There's 35 of you in this.
You sit on top of this man.
I don't know where to
this
go.
This man from Duluth.
I'm 17. I don't know anything. Would you like to buy a tie-dye shirt that says
Crab Shack?
So that's why I love the song. The song, I just left the podium and I left the crowd and just danced.
Got it.
I only had one more job in the food industry, which was my senior year of college. I worked at a little burger shack where I took orders and made burgers, and I was a delivery driver, and I kind of loved that. It was actually way more work, but sometimes there's no deliveries, so you're just par cooking fries, you're just batching everything. So it was Chicago style, so you had to cut a lot of tomatoes, onions, and stuff for the hot dogs, putting relish. I deep fried Twinkies, and they didn't have a way to do it other than holding your hands just out of the oil to par fry them. So there was one day that I burned myself on oil and then electrocuted myself within 4 seconds. Because I burned myself making the Twinkies, and it hurt, and I was like, I'm done making these Twinkies! And I went and pulled the hand mixer that I was using to keep the batter going out of the wall, and I just immediately electrocuted myself. Somehow, I grabbed too far on it and just touched the metal, so I went, ah! Ah! And I was alone. I was like, I could have died.
I don't know how to explain this, but you have a great face for getting electrocuted. You know, I don't think I do. I don't have like a big expressive
Whenever
face.
they make another Home Alone,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Do you remember the first time you had to pay for a dipping sauce at a restaurant?
It was just like a fast food place, and they wanted to charge me for ranch. And I was like, ranch should be free.
I agree.
I mean, lots of places now will be like, your first ranch is free, but if you want more, I'm like, I'm gonna need more. I'm not gonna buy 18 wings and use 1 cup of ranch. Every single wing is gonna become white.
We got this delicious jollof. It's finished cooking. We let it steam. I'm sorry to derail on
Love
that.
ranch.
I have found though that I value condiments more when I have to pay for them.
Yeah, you definitely like portion them out.
Try the jollof. I'm gonna grab a pound spoon.
It does smell Cajun.
Yeah, I mean, again, Cajun food, man.
That's what you're
It has so
saying.
many roots.
Hell yeah, that's delicious.
If you actually like really just let your mind meditate on all of the flavors and all the depth in here, like you get some really fun mental places, man. Jollof is incredible.
What's crazy is the smell is just like the raw spices. Like it smells like just the spices by themselves.
Wow.
And then the flavor is like the melding of all of those. It's very strange though how much it smells like a spice cabinet.
Dude, do you remember your first kiss? And I want you to rate it on an awkwardness scale of 1 to 10.
I was over at my neighbor Casey's house. Casey's a girl who's my neighbor. We grew up, we were kind of like brother and sister because we knew each other since we were 5. So we were in middle school and I had a girlfriend, Krista. And Casey was a real one because she was like, why don't I invite your girlfriend over and we can all hang out? And I was like,
Wow, Casey.
yeah, it sounds great. And they were friends too, but she knew like, oh, she's gonna invite Krista over and I'm gonna, hang out with Krista.
Either
Maybe
a homie, a voyeur, or both.
something. So I was very like nervous and we watched a movie and I was like, oh, I gotta go home. And then we said goodbye and like the moment to kiss, I missed it. So I'm walking back up the hill to my house and I get halfway to my house and I say, I'm gonna go back. And I turned around and I walked back and I very, very lightly knocked on the door that I had exited and Krista opened and at the door I said, I think I forgot something. And we kissed.
Let's go!
And then I ran home and I called my best friend Hank. I was like, Hank, guess what? And he said, what? He's like, I kissed Krista. And he was like, wow.
You better eat some more food.
Yeah, I'm honestly like really enjoying this. I'm very warm.
A lot of hot climate places tend to develop taste for spicy food because it triggers the body's natural cooling response. That's at least one theory. And then another theory is that you didn't have to like sort of preserve food, or you didn't have methods to preserve it via cold, so you did it with capsaicin, which is something that is like antimicrobial.
It's a preservative?
Yeah, so he can actually preserve things because effectively it's a defense mechanism for plants to like not want things to grow on it.
Right, and bugs to eat it. Bugs are like,
eat
oh,
it.
so spicy.
What bug accent is that?
A little roach.
Oh,
Or a little beetle.
spicy.
Little
Why are you
bug.
doing this to me?
That's spicy. Oh, God.
Keith, now we got a bunch of delicious Nigerian food from one of my favorite restaurants in LA. It's called Aduke down in Inglewood. So we have fried plantains, we have curry goat, we have red beef stew, and then this is one of my favorite things in the world. It's called egusi. It is a ground melon seed, but but it's a different kind of melon. The melon's actually called egusi, or it's a cucurbitous plant, which means pumpkin-like. And then the stew is cooked with pumpkin leaves and then a bunch of different herbs, like something called scent leaf that we don't really have here. But this is one of my favorite things in the world. What else we got? We got your hot sauce. Ooh, malt drink.
Oh,
Malt drink is something that is really popular in a lot of different parts of the world, in West Africa and also in South America. Like you'll get it in Venezuela, you get it in the Caribbean. Cheers. Dominican Republic, it's popular. It's delightful.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Some of them have a super low
Sweet.
ABV, but this one's non-alcoholic. And then this is fufu. So this is pounded yam, or we might call it cassava. And this general idea, it's like a ball of pounded starch that they call a swallow. So you actually like pound the hell out of it until you get it super, super starchy. And then you can take it in your hand. You gotta kind of like work quick. So you sort of like pass it back and forth to pat it out into like a little flatbread. And then you take that, here, try the red stew. Red stew's good. This is cooked with red palm oil. And you just go in.
How am I supposed to get this meat with this?
Yeah, any way you can, man.
Get more of the juice.
Red palm oil is so flavorful.
As somebody who mixes their mashed potatoes straight into everything else on their plate, I can see why this is good.
Keith, your first uploaded YouTube video.
Uh-oh.
It's called Heinz Commercial #2. Tell me about it. Did Heinz ever pick up that campaign?
No.
And do you remember anything about the video? Can you describe it to the folks?
Well, I made several. The campaign I had made up for them was like, should have gotten Heinz. And it was like people using things in their life that you should put ketchup on, but using it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Or putting something else on it, like dipping a French fry in soap and then eating it and being like, ugh. And then like, should have used Heinz. So my video career started with me seeing that brands would pay you if you could win a contest to make a bad commercial for them. And I never won the contest, but I certainly made a lot of bad commercials for them. And here's a really great story. In college, I competed on a little sketch competition show. And who else competed on that show? Rhett and Link.
Get out of here.
It was a submission. It was before they were big. And you submitted your sketches, and you got people to vote for them. But it was back when they were still just doing the comedy songs. Like that was the extent of what they did. I was doing comedy songs at the same time, and neither of us won.
But look at you now. Both ended up in this building making your career off of eating large amounts of food.
Yes!
As it was always meant to be.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm telling you, man, the
Same
scent
thing.
leaf.
Same
Yeah.
squish it out.
Same
or
squish it out.
just
There's like,
there's a whole
I'd say
chicken.
rip
Can I
some
just
chicken
eat
off
the
there.
chicken
Eat the
leg?
chicken. Eat the chicken.
I'm gonna eat it like a chicken
Like
leg.
really scoop it in the ground melon seeds, the texture that it gives and the way it carries all the flavor. It's so freaking
Is
good.
it spicy too?
No, this one's just super, super aromatic, but this is my favorite dish in all the Nigerian food can.
Oh yeah.
That's the first thing I had when I said, I just went, oh yeah! Oh, come on, baby!
Hold on, this is really good.
One of my favorite things in the world is trying a thing, a flavor, a sensation, a combination that you've never had before. And so much of West African cuisine, there's no Panda Express for Nigerian food in America yet. But like, this is just such a ridiculously awesome
What's
combo.
the cute animal of Nigeria?
I don't know, it could be like a goat.
Go-goat.
Go.
Go-goat.
Go-goat's the way to go.
Wow, that's good.
Do you remember your first selfie that you put on Instagram?
No. I remember the first picture I put on Instagram was a Coca-Cola.
I remember your first selfie.
Yeah, you really gunked it up with your fingers before you showed it.
I'm sorry, man. It's the trouble with eating Nigerian food.
$5 for a croissant breakfast from the Burger King? Woof. Relatable.
Keith, how do you feel about inflation? This was posted 12 years ago.
It really has become, why would you go to a fast food restaurant when you can go to a chain restaurant and pay the same price? Like Applebee's is become one of the cheapest restaurants?
Yeah.
Something like that? What? Applebee's eating good in the neighborhood? Yeah, you are. They go there after 8 p.m. Everything's half off.
I don't know
We
how
have
they
to
make it
throw
work.
this away. Can we throw it away into you?
I'll be a trash can, Red Lobster, just shower me.
No, they're closing. Sad, topical.
Hear me out. Keith, how much money do you have?
Oh, some.
I love that. Well, instead of retiring, what if you invested with me? We take all of the gutted Red Lobsters. Those are becoming go-goats. And now we need a Nigerian chef to partner with. We'll give you all the Red Lobsters.
I think this is good. Let's grab Babish and a couple other celebrity chefs so we can just use our clout to make it succeed.
I agree entirely.
Yes.
People need to eat a goosey. This is like the most delightful thing in the world.
All right, this is the goat.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, if we're going to start go-goat and all the gutted red lobsters, I mean, this has to be a signature dish.
First time I had goat was goat biryani at a little hole-in-the-wall place in Little Bangladesh in LA, and it was for a BuzzFeed video.
It was a biryani house?
I don't know. It was when we did this series where we would call an Uber and ask the Uber driver to take us to their favorite restaurant in town. Especially then.
Was it real? You didn't pre-produce it?
Correct. We would just call an Uber, and if they didn't do it, we'd get dropped off, and we'd just call another one. So we had a Bangladeshi driver. He's like, oh, I go to this place. And it was just a little rinky-dink place. It was nothing special because it's his actual lunch spot.
What was the first time that you remember feeling a major sense of accomplishment in the digital video space? Like the first video where you were like, this not only did well, but also like makes me feel really good and like I'm doing something I'm meant to.
The Dark Knight was coming out, and we're like, what if we made a video of Batman running around Chicago and just saying things Batman wouldn't say, and just call it unlikely quotes from Batman? We did that, and it got like 300,000 views. So I was like, holy cow, and then the Chicago like publications reached out, but they reached out to my friend who played Batman, not me, who made the video, came up with the video, directed the video, and edited the video.
It's always the star gets the treatment.
Then I need to be on camera too. So I'll do all of it. But I remember being like, okay, maybe I'm capable of making more things that would do well. Of course, and I made this Edgar Allan Poe series, which is, I think, so funny and no one has seen it. And I just was Edgar Allan Poe doing dramatic readings of pop songs in a very highly stylized thing. It was really for me to learn how to edit effects and edit quickly. So I was doing all of that just to see if I could.
I hope this blows up now because of this.
There's no way it will. Not a huge market.
Keith, I'm nearing my limit, but we got these fried little plantains here. They just look like a nice little dessert.
Little sweet plantains.
So good. Get that little burn.
These are really good.
Tell me about your favorite dish here. What did you think of Nigerian food overall? What was your impression?
I love a flavorful stew. I myself love slow cooking things with lots of spices in general. This chicken is probably my favorite because it had a lot of flavors I haven't had before, but I liked them all. I've really never had this flavor of chicken. That pumpkin or the pumpkin-like
Cucurbitus, melon.
Melon.
Egusi.
It's so good.
I know.
I'm trying, like, can I describe it? No. It's really good.
And it's like a first, man. It's
really a first.
Beautiful things in life. Novelty is the one thing you can't substitute for in life. The first time you try something is always going to lock in your brain, and I just think it's so special.
And like, I always love new experiences, whether I like them or not.
Yeah.
Because how else are you supposed to learn?
This is cool. Keith, I'm so glad that I was here to make eye contact with you during your first time.
It's beautiful.
It was incredible.
It was delicious. A little wet, too. My
Quite
fingers are
wet.
stained as well.
A lot spicier than it should be. Keith, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I had a rad time. I always have a rad time with you, especially eating with you. I really love your perspective on food and life and the sort of joie de vivre that you have in general. It's really fantastic.
What's that even mean?
One last joie de vivre. It means toilet water.
Very nice. Good.
Keith, one more question. What's the first subscription streaming service you ever launched?
Second try. Yeah, we have a platform now. It's helping us sort of be an entertainment company that doesn't have to fully rely on ad revenue and making stuff that the algorithm loves. But also it's just a great destination to view our stuff. And it's been really fun. People have loved it so far. It's fun to have a new project. New projects reinvigorate your interest in what you're already doing. And I think this new platform, Second Try, invigorate us to find not only better ways of our workflow, but better stuff to make and excitement around it. Because we've been a brand for 10 years. And we've done a lot of the same stuff. So that's really been really fun. And I hope it keeps succeeding because it's going well so far.
Yeah, and I mean, as somebody who's done a lot of stuff with not only the try guys, but also with people like Kwesi and Johnny and people who are so freaking talented. It's awesome to see them get a more like formalized role and get more opportunities, and they freaking roll. And I'm stoked to see what y'all are.
Yeah, it's awesome that having the expanded cast, and there's only so much Zach and I can do, and only so many takes we can really have about things. And the whole idea behind the Try Guys is people experiencing new things with an open mind. And more people have open minds than just us, so we want to share that ability. And also, like, I've had a life-altering experience like once a month for 10 years. and it's just like, it's wasted on me at this point. So I want other people to be able to
I
experience.
shouldn't have fed you Nigerian food.
I know.
Damn,
I got another one. Another one
Lost
off
like
the list.
tears in the rain.
Another first. I also have a tour this summer.
that's what I keep talking about.
You just
No,
came
I'm
off
sitting
your
over here.
tour, and it looked like a great time. And if you liked his tour, you liked mine. Because it's on the surface, I think it looks very similar. I was looking at photos of yours, like, we're doing that. But it's, as you know, I do a show where I eat everything. We're taking that on the road, where I'll be eating things from local fast food places, local mom and pop places, all the snacks that are popular in that area. A lot of audience interaction. In fact, I think it's like 95% of the show has an audience member directly involved with what we're doing, so it's going to be wild, I'm sure, because of that. I'm even going to kidnap part of the audience and put them on stage with me
That does sound similar.
and make a little on-stage audience on the side. But we have that. We're doing like all the things we do. We'll have the conveyor belt there. Oh, I also am making a big mascot of myself.
Oh no.
So that, because there's a meet and greet, but we can't have everyone in the meet and greet because we just don't have room for that.
His face.
It's not. It's a more attractive face than that, and somehow, and that he'll be in the lobby, so you can still take selfies with Keith even if you can't see me. You get to hang out with mascot Keith.
We just talked about how you and Zach can't do everything. And I was like, well, good news. I've made a paper mache facsimile of myself that you can take pictures
I have so many giant heads of my head. I have 2 paper mache heads in my head in my garage, and now I'm going to have a proper, fabric mascot head of my head. I'm collecting gigantic heads of myself. It turns out I'm a collector.
Sounds like a serial killer. It really looks like a serial killer thing. If they showed that in a movie, I go, that's him. That's the killer.
Yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, you can get tickets to that. I'm going to 7 cities right now, but we're going to add more eventually. I'm doing just on the weekends so I can still have some family life as well.
Sure, man. Keith, thank you so much for enjoying this lovely meal with me and letting me
yeah.
give you a first time. And thank you all for stopping by the Mythical Kitchen. We got new episodes out all the time, forever, constantly. The thing that we're all about over here at the Mythical Try Guys is trying new things with an open mind. So thank you for having an open mind and an open stomach. Comment or don't.
Comment, leave a like, and never stop watching until you die.
The Mythical Cookbook is finally here. Order your copy now at mythicalcookbook.com and make any kitchen a mythical kitchen.